Hello, Fightful Faithful. Welcome to another episode of the Sour Graps Tuesday NXT Variety Hour. It's me and Kate.
It is. It's your NXT post show live from Madison Square Garden. Well, we're not live from Madison Square Garden,
No.
but we
and neither were they technically. Neither were they technically. They said Madison Square Garden a lot, but they meant the arena, even though it was actually the theater. But that's fine. We'll let it slide. We'll let it slide.
It was a beautiful theater, though. I gotta say, it looked really cool.
Theater.
But
yeah.
But guys, some exciting news. We have Louise for tonight's episode, so we're not gonna miss anything. We're gonna flow. It's gonna be great. So get in those super chats, get in those humper chats, because somebody else is handling them, if for no other.
Yeah.
I will also remind you to subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. The best scoops in the game. So much going on there. We had our Revolution review this weekend, Alex and I. It's about drive. It's about power. We talked till like 3 a.m. about wrestling.
We did.
So much going on FightfulSelect.com. Also, your Fightful Select Discord, where Sean will just occasionally drop some info. But, man, I gotta say, my favorite episodes of NXT tend to be ones where there's not a lot of goofy backstage stuff, which is what we got tonight. We had a couple of those.
It's all wrestling.
But some well-built in ring. Hell yeah.
New York City puns.
Am I laggy and weird? I feel like I'm laggy.
You are laggy. You're very laggy and weird. But you're always
New York City
weird.
puns.
You're always weird, but now you're
true.
also laggy. Yeah, you're weird because you're laggy now. But yeah, we're New York City puns. New York puns.
The Big Apple. Okay. It's really bad, isn't it?
It is pretty bad. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Yeah.
I've got ways to fix it, but you just have to vamp for a minute, which shouldn't be a problem.
You're good right now. Whatever you're doing this very second, keep doing it.
Okay. I think I shut down Spotify, so I think we're good.
Okay,
we're figuring out the order of operations that need to happen to make my whole setup work. So
awesome.
I have this beautiful mind.
Yeah. Oh, now we lost you again. Kate. Kate's gone now. We got cocky. We thought we had fixed it. Oh no, now we're back.
I'm just going to be that creepy group, and I'm going to cut in and out. That's what's going to happen. We'll see how long I can sustain it.
We'll see how it works. Oh, that's good.
Super chats, humper chats, thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube, subscribe to Fightful Select. I have shilled.
Yep.
I have shilled us out as far as we can shill, Alex. But I was saying before I so rudely interrupted myself, I think, that I love when we get in-ring focused episodes of NXT, other than like the Ricky Starks thing backstage and a couple of other small deals. This was very much a wrestling focused show, and the stories to it were all pretty baked in. So that dismisses some of the complaints that I normally have right off the bat, just the structure of it.
Yeah, for sure. Yes, get in all your New York puns because they were in the Big Apple. The large fruit on a tree is what they used to call it, and then they shortened it to Big Apple. And
is that a fact?
It's a good change. Yeah, it's a good change. Yeah, in the 1870s, they were like, large fruit on a tree just feels weird.
A little wordy.
Well, it's translated from the original Dutch, because they settled the island first after they stole it from the Indians. But anyway. Yeah, it was just large fruit on a tree, and they were like, "Can we just be Big Apple?" It's like, well, that's very presumptive that that's the fruit that was on the tree.
Sure, it could have been citrus of some kind,
like a peach tree. You don't know, but they were like, "No, it's apple. We're gonna say it's apple." We're like, "That's fine. We put it to a vote. It's Big Apple. It's fine." So that's where they were tonight. They were in the large fruit on a tree, and they were in the world's most famous arena's smaller venue within the same building. That also is too much of a mouthful, so they just decided to lie and say it was Madison Square Garden all night. I mean, it was the building, but when they say that, they know what you're supposed to think. And anyway,
it wasn't like, oh, Bruno Sammartino was here. You know what I mean? Yeah. I got you.
So 6 matches. 5? 5. 6? 5. 5. 5 matches.
WWE.
5 matches. I mean, like sometimes they'll throw like 8 matches on an episode of NXT, but
that is very true. NXT actually is the more wrestling focused of those.
Yeah. And I can't be mad about any of them, but I'm going to be anyway. So
it's what we do.
It's what we do here, and it wouldn't be me if I didn't want things to be better. The most egregious thing happened first. The Blurry Boys, aka Fraxiom, that's what they call them, but they're Blurry Boys here. There's no realm in the multiverse where they should be losing to this version of the Hardy Boys. If you want to say you invented time travel and you sent Axiom and Fraser back to 2002 and they faced the Hardy Boys and you tell me those Hardy Boys beat them, fine. If you want to say that they took the same time machine from now to like 2015 and those Hardy Boys beat them, I'd be like, well, okay, I'll buy it. But not these Hardy Boys. They are the Hardy old men. They are the Hardy geezers.
I knew you were gonna say that. I was like, the Hardy geezers.
Hardy men. They're no longer the Hardy Boys. They are 50 and 47 years old.
Sure.
That is like literally, I looked it up. That is like literally Allen Iverson and Vince Carter right now beating the 2 best basketball players in the world in a game on 2-on-2. 50-year-old and 47-year-old Allen Iverson and Vince Carter, who were amazing 20 years ago, beating right now at 50 and 47 years old, the best 2 basketball players in the world at 2-on-2. And I'm sorry, I don't buy it, which is why I assumed we were going to get some kind of whoever's next for Fraser and Axiom is going to come in and lay out one of them at ringside, which distracts the other one long enough for the Hardys to get the pin. But they just beat him clean, which is insane. It's insane. It's an insane thing to book. And I get it. You also put one of your champions in here against one of NXT's champions, and that guy took the pin. So it was like squaresies. Like one of your guys pins our guy, one of our guys pins your guy. Fine. But no, just no. I'm sorry, just no. The match was as good a match as you could possibly have between these guys, and it's just I can hear them creaking from my couch. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, Alex. I will say I'm glad that the Hardys look better now than they did in AEW. Like they seem they're never going to be the Hardys of yore. Nobody is. But like they definitely are in a better rhythm with how to be an aging finesse pitcher rather than throwing heat down the middle, right? Yeah. Like, so this was a much better showing. Fraxiom are just insane. Yeah. I thought I'm in agreement with you that I did not think Fraxiom was going to leave winning the TNA titles.
No, they weren't going to win the titles, but something might happen.
I thought they would have had they have so much miscommunication, Alex, in this.
But they did. Like, Axiom did a jumping drop kick that was supposed to hit Matt Hardy, but hit Nathan Fraser in the face. And again, that's technically
cost them.
But no, but it did, because immediately after that they lost. So that was the end of the match.
Oh, sorry. Correct. I was thinking of a spot earlier in the match. Sorry.
Yeah. Yes. Again, they had to put a bunch of those in there. And the thing of it is that's, to me, in my book, still technically clean, because the heels didn't do anything and there was no interference. There are no heels in this match. There was just a miscommunication between the 2 members of the tag team. It's not necessarily, it's not sparkling clean, but it's definitely not a dirty loss. You know what I mean? So it
wasn't like guy with a bald head and a mop, Mr. Clean.
No,
it wasn't that.
No.
Yeah, like I just even thought from the time of year that we're in, that we would have gotten the stand and deliver challenger showing up in some way, or somebody coming in
even after the match or something. Like, no, I didn't.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like we're always rooting for clean finishes, but we get them a lot more frequently now on NXT. So like
we've started to get them more and more often. Yeah,
would have made a lot more sense, but I do appreciate, because miscommunications happen. My God, the bloodline is constantly spearing each other. So like I I'll take that. Like I'll take that. As opposed to like a startlingly clean finish, but I do agree with you. Like it probably should have taken more. Very cool that Fraxiom got to have this match in a real life perspective. I'm happy for the Hardys to get to go out on a better note than how things went. So this was the right call to open the show. I agree with you. There probably should have been more damage done to make me believe that Fraxiom could lose. And also, I'm just like, what is the plan for these guys that stand and deliver? Like, it's
a rematch, but this time it's for the NXT titles, and Blurry Boys win. That's what it is. Manny's right. They're definitely doing a rematch, and that it'll be for Fraser and Axiom's titles this time. But Fraser and Axiom will win. That's what it's going to be. Yeah.
Are you trying to convince yourself that they're going to win?
No. The Hardys aren't winning the NXT titles. So the Blurry Boys are going to retain those titles. It'll be like, hey, well, you got one on us and we got one on you. Shake hands. That's what it's going to be.
Okay. I hope you're right. I'll put it that way. I'm very nervous the Hardys will win and have one last run and that Fraxiom will get called up. But I would guess that is the matchup because we got nobody else coming out and because we're not that far off. And I don't think they have like necessarily a strong, unless it's Malik and Idris coming back, which would be incredible. But they're not healthy yet fully, right?
I feel like that's not going to happen. No,
that sucks.
They've never actually done anything even close to like pushing those guys. Like,
no, I guess I just was like hoping for, I know they're not healthy, but their match was insane the first time around, and they got injured pretty much right after that, right? So like it would just be cool if they were the ones to like have real life adversity, not manufactured, and to be able to come back and win the titles. Like a lot has happened since we were out, blah blah blah. Like that would just make me really happy if they're the ones to get to do it. But
yeah. Also, yes. Hold on. Was somebody say Luis saying that the Nemeths are coming for those tag titles after Nick turns heel on Friday? Like those, meaning the NXT tag titles? I'm sorry. Do we not have any in-house tag teams? We don't have any of those that actually roam the halls of the PC. I get doing it for like the Hardys as like the nostalgia pop, but Ziggler and his brother is the thing that we got to do now.
I mean, Nick Nemeth didn't like have a lot of really great things to say about his time in NXT. I think a lot of those people have moved on, but I'd be kind of surprised if that was the plan. I think it's in TNA world. That's
fine.
What people are thinking.
Whatever. Okay.
Yeah. But the match was really good. Like this is for where the Hardys are at now. Right. This was a really good, and it was a fun way to open the show.
See, no, RM, no, I'm not getting the moon brick ready again. No.
This isn't really a moon bricky episode, honestly.
I didn't throw the brick nearly as far. That was not a moon brick. It was more like a weather balloon brick. It was just up in the sky, hanging out, threw a brick at it.
I don't know. I thought like I wasn't even launching it further than a football field for the most part. I had a good time tonight.
You cannot fathom how stringent I am on this. Old guys lose to young guys. Old guys lose to young guys. There are very, very, very small windows of depending on who the young guy is. Like Logan Paul should absolutely lose to AJ Styles. But like that's based on who the young guy is. But like as a general rule, young guys beat old guys. I'm just sorry about that. That's just the way it should be.
Sure. I agree with that, but I get why they didn't do it here. I'll say that much.
Right. Yes, because they couldn't because of the particular thing being on the line. That much I understand. Um Tom Lavelli says the Hardly boys anymore. The Hardly boys anymore. They're not hard.
They're
They're
men.
hard. They're hardly boys anymore. I get it. Also, he calls them the hardened joints. The joints have hardened. And Tim McFall says, no amount of sour from Alex over the Hardys' lack of mobility can ruin my mood. This felt like an old school takeover. Hold on. I haven't had this much fun watching WWE in a long time, and the best in the world is now Steffi 2 belts. She's going to be Steffi 1 belt pretty quick because I think I figured out exactly how they're going to get the first one off of her, but I don't think she's going to be Steffi 2 belts for long. Yeah, it's this felt like the best that NXT has been in a long time.
Very long time.
This cannot measure up to old school takeovers. Like you are there. The recency bias is stronger than Femi. If you think that this resembles an old school takeover, it's really great by modern NXT standards. But the old school takeovers were the best shows of the year in any company. Like,
yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like, this is really good, and they have a chance to get better and better with who they've got on the roster. But as long as they're building they're booking the slow motion men to beat the blurry boys, it ain't a takeover.
The slow motion
men. Luis says the only two people allowed to beat younger folks are Eddie Kingston and Mystico. Yes. Eddie because it's Eddie, Mystico because the house is on him. I won't hear otherwise. I mean,
Eddie definitely falls into that category because he should win everything all the time. Samoa Joe as well. I would put Samoa Joe.
Yeah. Anyway, congratulations to Matthew and Jeffrey Hardy for.
Why are you using their what do the Jacksons call them? Their passport names?
Their passport names or whatever. I don't know.
Today, you know what? Today was the day that they became men. I'm proud of them.
Here's why. Because I feel like they're so old now, they go back to using their full names. You know what I mean? Like Matt.
They're like older and distinguished.
Matthew. Yeah.
They're professors, really, at this point.
Jeffrey. Thank you.
Hi, Jeffrey.
Put some respect on their passport names. Good. They're God-given names. That's what Matthew and Nicholas Jackson said. So hey, Mickey James being forced off of LFG because the Undertaker says my wife's got to be on it, and the producers say, "Well, we only have room for one woman. What would we do with more than one woman on a show like this?
Multiple legendary women."
That's crazy. So
what are we gonna do? Kick Bubba Ray off?
I know, man, he is so valuable, like with all the amazing non-biased opinions he has about everything. But Mickey James still under contract, so hanging out because they're still promoting this current season. So she's backstage giving a pep talk to Jada Parker, who's like, "Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I should have all the gold." And Mickey James is like, "Yes, basically you should." And so that is person number one, who I believe will be in a match with Stephanie Vaquer for the North American title sooner rather than later.
That makes
sense. We got a segment with the family where Stax is like, man, I messed up. I left that chair strategically in that place where I knew that Tony was going to fall. That's my problem. I did that. That was wrong of me. But we're gonna get revenge next week. And in comes Tony, and he's like, "Listen, you're the underboss. I understand you don't want to take responsibility for it, but this should be my choice. Like, hey, listen, don't worry, boss. I got me and Luca and Big Ange. We're gonna have a six person mixed tag versus Nico and the Beach fella and whatever the name is, Izzy. We're going to beat them all up. So we're taking this on you." And Tony's like, "Hey, what am I, chopped liver? What am I doing over here? I don't know. You can watch." All right. And so they're doing that next week.
Yeah. Excellent impressions all around. No notes. Yes, I'm always happy to see Mickey James. She was like a very important, As someone that started watching in 2009 and was desperate to see women do things other than mostly pulling hair for 2 minutes, not a slight at them, a slight at how they were booked. Again, great performers. You had Natalia and Beth Phoenix, and then they were like, hey, instead of facing each other, how about Natty Farts? That was literally what they did. It is so unfair to them. But as somebody that was like, there's got to be more than this, Mickie James was really fundamental in my love of women's wrestling. And I found her work, and then things got better, right? But when we talk about like women's wrestling legacies, I feel like she's always in the mix, but maybe not as properly rated as she should be. And I think the world of her. I think she's a really special performer. And I am disgusted with the fact that when she was kicked out the last time, they sent her stuff away in trash bags. And now this time they've said, we're going to boot you off this season because and this is not The Undertaker's fault. This was very carefully reported by FightfulSelect.com, by the way. Like, Undertaker wasn't like, Mickie James must go and Michelle must be here. He was just like, my wife should be on the show with me. He was not like at the expense of anybody else. It was not like a politicking thing in that way. But I find it appalling that they would treat someone like that. Again, I'm glad that she got a chance to be here. She is a class act in these situations, and the more Mickie on my screen, the better. And I like that she had an interaction with Jada, because that's just like a fun combo to me. And the family stuff is great. Like they're doing a rare W. They're doing a good job pacing this story. Like it's actually unfolding the way it should over weeks of wrestling television, it feels like. And right now we're in like what feels like a pretty pivotal chapter with the family. So I like this. And it never ceases to amaze me how well that they've made this particular act work, with how gimmicky and overdone it could have and did get, but like they've always found ways to ground it into something really cool. So good stuff. Good stuff there.
So Jordynne Grace is now in NXT, and they are.
That was Roxanne for some reason.
So is Roxanne for some reason. She's still in NXT. And they have decided to do the thing with Jordynne Grace that they really shouldn't do, because in other places she can be a babyface. In NXT and WWE proper, a woman as strong as she is will always be forced to, in big matches, they don't know how to make a babyface anything other than wrestle from underneath. That's it. There's nothing else they can do. So the only way they can do something where that person wrestles from underneath is find somebody bigger than them, like Nia Jax and Rhea Ripley, or do a thing where, oh no, something happened to their knee or their shoulder or whatever, and now they've got to wrestle with that thing. And that's what they do every time they wrestle a big match. In the non-big matches, where they don't have to worry about making it look good, they can just beat up people. But this is why I said from the very beginning that I didn't think that Jade and Bianca as a tag team would work very well, because they only know how to do face in peril tag matches. That's the only matches that they book. And one of the two faces is either Bianca Belair or Jordynne Grace, and not Jordynne Grace, sorry, Jade Cargill.
Jade in that situation, yeah.
And it was almost always Bianca Belair, and we've seen her KOD 3 women at a time. So there's no way you believe that she would be, oh my God, I can't move because these ladies are stomping me in a corner. Like, she would just get up and throw them very far. You know what I mean? Like, so the same problem I have with that is the problem I had with this particular match. It was an incredibly well wrestled match by Jordynne Grace and Roxanne Perez. Fantastic. I think Jordynne Grace's sweet spot is tweener, leaning face, but also can wrestle heel if she needs to. who just beats up people and just herks them all over the place. I think that's her sweet spot here. I don't know if they'll ever let her find it in NXT, but we got to watch Roxanne Perez, who very cleverly injured her patella, they said, by stomping it by putting her foot in the back of her knee, of Jordynne Grace's knee, and shoving it up against the steel steps, which is something that I hadn't seen before. And if I didn't, this match in a vacuum, absent all context for how my brain works, is perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. It was great. Like, Jordynne Grace sold the hell out of the knee that was cut. Roxanne kept going back to it. She was the cerebral and smart heel who created a weakness in Jordynne Grace and exploited it over and over again. And Jordynne Grace found a way to fight through it and hit her big move to pin her. There's nothing wrong with any of that. The problem is that my brain sees the next 6 big matches that Jordynne Grace is in as a babyface, and they're going to run the exact same playbook with all of them, because I can't stop my brain from spinning that out to the worst possible scenario, which, let's be honest, is also the most likely scenario in this case. So this match was great, and both women were amazing. Just please, please, please figure out a way to book Jordynne Grace that isn't in almost every match. Ow, my insert name of body part hurts. I can't possibly do any of my big moves now. Guess I'll try and figure out a way to fight through the pain to beat this dastardly heel. Every time? It's great if you do it every now and then, but every time? That's what they've done consistently, so often. And I feel like it gets tiresome after a while. And it's not like Jordynne Grace is some rookie who you have to teach how to work a match like this. She's a veteran who knows, multi-time champion. She knows.
You can tell by the selling of the exact story you're talking about. Yeah,
she knows exactly what to do here. You know what I mean? So that is my one qualm about any of this. But as I said, I can't look at the work in this particular match and say there's anything wrong with it. Both women were stellar. It's just that I look into the future, and my Nostradamus is just sitting over here going, this is all going to be terrible in the future. It really is.
Well, a couple of things. Congratulations to you. You're the second person who has gifted me a pet peeve, which I hadn't had before. The very early in my wrestling journey, I was gifted the pet peeve of people being on the top rope of battle royals, and now I can't not see it, and I can't not get annoyed by it. You have given me you can't just get out of that move with no actual counter. Right. I loved this match so much. There was one point where Jordynne had her up for the muscle buster and she just got out of it. And I'm like, well, then why wouldn't you always just get out of it? If like there was nothing done to get out of it. Yes. And I was like, oh no, Alex gave me a pet peeve. I've now been gifted. But the match was excellent. It also felt to me like Roxanne learned from the first match a little bit. Like I have to weaken her as quickly and as fiercely as I possibly can if I have any chance. Like, because she's a smarter wrestler now. And that first match was so great. But this, I felt like she came across as more opportunistic with that specific thing. So I liked it in this case. You're not wrong that is not the only, but it's definitely the default. It's definitely the default that they go to. For a specific
kind of babyface. They don't know any other way to like make the thing even. Like Roxanne being cagey and smart and getting out of things and just not allowing Jordynne to hit anything on her. Like maybe for more of the match, but it just felt like it was so early that she was like, okay, now I got one wheel. How am I going to do anything when I got one bad knee? And then, she does.
That's why I'm hoping like we get her versus Zarya. If you didn't see her versus Zarya as Delta, that was awesome the first time around. Do that again here and then send her to the main roster. And we don't run into this problem at all. But it does beg the question of like what happens when Jordynne Grace goes to the main roster, because she feels like she should be someone that's very important up there. Which means they have to, where did the the swear window by a little bit. They have to give a shit about the women's mid-card titles up there. They're going to call Jordynne Grace up. So
they really do.
Unless they throw her in a tag team or something, in which case they would have to care about that division more. But all that being said, like, this match was fantastic bell to bell. These two just have really, really great chemistry. And I love that with Roxanne, the turn happened not in the most justified way, but certainly not in the least justified way that we see around here. And she's gotten smarter as time's gone on, and they met months ago, and she's a smarter wrestler here. Like, I appreciate that kind of thing, and the execution of the match was fantastic. It's fantastic. They have amazing chemistry in there. Jordynne Grace's new finisher, I was told by Sean, is called the Beast Mode, which is such a perfect, fantastic name. She should be throwing Skittles out there too. She should just go full Marshawn Lynch with it. But I can't say enough about how much these two know who they are as wrestlers and how aware they are of who they were in the ring with, and how they, like, that magic just happens when you have, like, I know exactly who I am as a wrestler. I know exactly who they are as a wrestler, and I'm going to give them what they need to make this work, and they're going to give me what I need to make this work. Is just like the beauty of pro wrestling in action. And that's a lot of what I felt like we got here. So kudos to them. They killed it. They had to follow like the Hardys. That's not fun. So good for them for tearing it down. They were absolutely fantastic.
Yep. Paul Elizabeth, your dad.
My dad.
Says, to the team, the council, and all the SGS, welcome to Everything Sucks Savings Time. Brought to you by our own Secretary of Wrestling, JW Pringle.
That's right.
Kylie, the gamer princess.
We don't really have a lot to complain about on the show, so I'll complain about this, okay? If we're going to get sour. 2 nights ago, I couldn't sleep very well.
All right.
Then we reviewed AEW Revolution till like 3 a.m.
Yes.
And then my dog was sick for a straight 24 hours. So
terrible.
I was just like going out with this dog. This is how you know it was a pretty good show from NXT. I'm still awake and I didn't fall asleep during the show. I am a ditch wreck right now, Alex. But she ate her rice. I watched wrestling. We're all feeling better, but it's been a go since the weekend.
Yeah.
I watched Dance Moms. That's how out of it I was.
I mean, listen.
Just Maddie Ziegler lyrical solo after Maddie Ziegler lyrical solo.
Everybody copes in different ways, including, obviously, Cope, who is coping because he lost the title match. Kylie, the gamer princess, says, I listened to 5 hours of SGS today at work. Revolution and Raw reviews. Thanks for making my day go by quicker. Oh, well, am I weird? Oh, well, says Kylie. And no, you're not weird.
You're at the very least, you're our type of weird. So thank you for being so supportive. We love you around here.
So yes, keep those New York puns coming in.
Why don't you give the people an example? Give them a little taste. I was just
going to say, Everett Smith says the United Empire State Building. And Lieutenant Photo says Dwayne the Rockefeller Center Johnson.
Brilliant.
And Annie Brown gives me my favorite, Bam Bam Five Boroughs.
I saw one that was in there specifically for me.
Did you?
Yeah. Did you see it?
I haven't scrolled down yet. Everett Smith says Grand Slam Central Station.
This one right here. Right to my heart.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
The Duke-Hudson River.
Actually, it's not listed here, so good thing that you found it, because Luis did not put it in the document.
I would never miss that one.
I know, no, never.
God, Luis is so rusty. He got a whole week off. I mean,
good Lord, dude, step up your game. Give you all that time off.
Mr. Big Time, we're coming back around to the little people.
There's a Trick Williams segment that I apparently missed. Was it him talking about how he's going to beat Eddie Thorpe?
Yes, and you're kind of cheating with that one, but he also
it was a educated guess.
A gimme. Yeah. But this was cool. Like, some of the shots that they chose for tonight with the crowd were really cool. This was one of them. But he also said like he's focused on getting back on top. So we have seen a shift at NXT where people are more concerned about titles than they were before, instead of being like, I lost my title and now I am mad at Pete Dunne for some reason. Like, I appreciate that Trick wants to get back to the title. My thing is why, because they book him so bad every time he has one. But
this actually not, he's booked better when he's not a champion.
Yeah, he should be like, you know what?
You know what? I don't really need the title. I'm good.
Money's not in gold for me. I'm good with like silver.
Yeah.
But he seems comfortable as a heel, I will say. Like, he seems very assured of himself and very deliberate with stuff. So some good stuff here. Okay. But yes, he was talking about how he's going to be Eddie Thorpe, and Eddie Thorpe was like, no way. As one does in wrestling.
Well, that was I saw the Eddie Thorpe segment that happened later, where that happened much later in the night, where he was, being interviewed in the stands and talked about how now you want to get serious? Now you care? Okay, fine. Well, I'm still gonna beat you in the underground because I'm gonna feed in the underground or whatever. And then Trick came up from behind him and attacked him, and then they fought.
There were fight ups.
Yeah, they fought, and they're gonna fight again next week in NXT Underground.
NXT Underground. They did a good job setting up next week's with this stuff too.
They did. Obviously, Femi isn't the greatest wrestler who ever lived. But there's a chance he is by the time he retires. This guy is so good at obviously he's really great at picking people up and slamming them down on stuff. He's very strong.
When you start with couches.
But I'm just saying, like, the thing that is unfair, and what gives him an unfair advantage, is he's giant and athletic. So right there, he's got those two things. That dude was throwing out like running leg lariats. He's 6'6" and 310 pounds. He's doing running leg lariats at people. So like when he picks up Moose, who's not a small individual, and he picks him up so fast. He picks him up so fast that he has to stop Moose's momentum from rising off the ground so that he can slam him on the apron. He just picked him up, and if he had just let go, Moose would still be hurtling upward. He would have gone through the roof of the Madison Square Garden Theater, and he would have kept going up to that weather balloon I was hucking bricks at. That's how far through the air he would have. But then he's like, no, I'm going to stamp him. It was so easy. Like picking up a jug of milk. That is how not at all anything the size of Moose is to Femi. Obviously, that is all a thing that when you are very strong and very large and very athletic, you should be able to do all of those things. Then he puts together all the rest of it. All the other things that people who aren't as big and aren't as strong and aren't as athletic have to like fill in all those cracks to like make themselves a better professional wrestler. And those are usually the only guys who you see take the time to do any of that, because if they don't, they're going to lose a spot to a guy who is bigger, stronger, and more athletic than they are. So they have to then like do all the other stuff. It's so rare that you see a guy as big, strong, and athletic as Femi who appears to love doing all the other stuff, telling a story through emotional response in a ring, but not in a big over-the-top way, and very rarely does he seem susceptible to the WWE big man selling style of bees. So many bees. Just like a bear drunk on honey wine and bees just coming near a bear. That's basically what Braun Strowman for his entire career has sold, like a drunk bear with bees in his face. Just
the guy that always broke that archetype in WWE and did it really well in AEW too, in my opinion, was Rusev / Miro. Like we don't get to see a lot of that. And I really, really do appreciate that about Obafemi.
Man. I hadn't thought about that until you brought it up right now in the context of talking about this guy, but
Rusev versus Oba?
That is the number one reason for Miro to sign back here, is because I think they would become like King Kong and Godzilla. Even though Miro is shorter than he is, the way he wrestles is the same basic idea of that. You know what I mean? I'm going to hit you as hard as I can. And also, he does just some, I'm such a Miro guy, but.
Oh, I know who the host of the show is. I know you. Right. I know your proclivities.
I want to give some props to the professor of ring psychology himself, Moose, because I thought he did a fantastic job in this match. This was so much better than I thought it was going to be. I mean, most of that to me is Obafemi, who's becoming a guy where like he will elevate other people's game, and he's had like 40 matches in his life.
Yeah, it's stupid.
He elevates other people, and he's basically a rookie, but he brings other people to his level, because I think that if you are a self-respecting wrestler who's in there with a guy who hasn't been wrestling nearly as long as you, and you see him doing all the stuff that some people just like smooth over and just hit cruise control on, you see him doing all that moment to moment work. Like there were so many times, because this was a big hard-hitting match, and a lot of the thing put together was we both did a big move to each other, and now we've got to sell. You go back and you watch it, Oba never sells like while he's recovering the same way twice.
Correct. I noticed that too.
Like he always is, he's finding different ways of like, that move hit this part of my body, so I'm going to tense up this part of my body in response to it. And I'm going to try and get back. He gets back to his feet in different ways. When he gorilla pressed Moose to the outside and then collapsed, full face bump onto his face. Like this is the kind of thing that you never see guys do that anymore, because I think there is an old school thought of the big guy doesn't have to be tired during the match because that weakens him in some way. But like when you're facing another giant dude, it took all of your body strength that far into the match to pick him up, lift him up in the air, and throw him. Now I need to take a nap for just 25 seconds. I'm gonna go sleep. Like that, you just need that. And everything he did was pointed and calculated, and that's the point of it is it wasn't. You can see him in the moment making these decisions. This is not like, it feels calculated. It feels like it is a rehearsed, like a very rehearsed performance, because because you could only come up with so many different ways of selling stuff like this if you had been in rehearsals for 3 weeks for 8 hours a day for this thing. But you can watch him do it, and he's just having new ideas in his brain. Like it is one of the greatest gifts of my career doing this, that I got to like respond to his first ever match. And I got to respond in real time to him winning the breakout tournament and the North American title, and losing the North American title, which was a very important part of his overall journey, trying to get it back and failing, then winning the coming in as a surprise entrant into the Iron Survivor, winning the world title and his world title reign. And you're watching everything, and you can see the progression from week to week on the stuff he somehow gets even better at. This is a kind of thing that this is everyone says generational talent, to the point where it feels like it is cheapened.
It doesn't mean anything anymore. Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything if everybody is a generational talent. Obafemi is a generational talent. And what a match that he wrestled tonight in the middle of the card.
Yeah,
like he said, we're going to go out and do the main event in the third on the card. And he did. And credit to Moose for going as far as he possibly could to go along with him, because there takes two to tango. And honestly, I did not think that Moose had this match in him against Oba Femi. And good for both of them. Oba is just otherworldly, man.
He is so special. And as far as the 2 weeks ago thing, I was like, well, Alex was right. I was like, nah, he should have knocked Lexus King out of his boots, because that would have made this even contextually even better. Because of this match, because this match was so great, because this was two Titans colliding. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I felt like what you were saying was, if you weren't familiar with Moose, seeing him spear Lexus King out of his boots, so that you're like, holy crap, who's that guy? Maybe he does have a fighting chance against Oba Femi. Looks a lot different than a 7 to 8 minute competitive match with a comedy mid-card heel. So just to clarify, that was what I think the intent of what you were saying was, and I feel like it holds a ton of merit, and I actually feel like that's truer after having seen this match, because it did deliver that. It did give us I think this is why part of it was such a good match, was I think the pacing worked in Moose's favor and Oba Femi's favor.
Yeah.
Because it was like Moose is not a small dude. So they were able to collide like trucks, because they are two trucks colliding. Like, there were so many moments in here where the genuity of the match felt so real. Because these were just two big guys beating the crap out of each other at a lot of points, and it was just a matter of who was getting the upper hand. I was worried they were going to go too far into the veteran younger guy story, but I actually really liked that they didn't really give that to us. It was not like, look how I outsmarted you to make Oba Femi look dumb, because that's not the type of champion Oba Femi is. And so I'm so glad they weren't like, oh, he's 50 matches in, he's so inexperienced. Like, no, this was just like,
no,
big ass dude, both in their strengths, going at it as hard as they could. I was really impressed by how well paced it was, because like you said, there's like all of these moments where you can see the calculations happening in real time. Because sometimes when you get these matches too, Alex, I don't have to tell you, like, it's just two big dudes going on. If you don't do that, this match gets boring.
Yeah.
Like, we've said, oh, cool, a spot. Oh, did they collide again? Like, that can get really boring if you don't do the in-ring storytelling work and put in the emotional effort to get this to come across. So I thought they both knocked it out of the park. I'm fully in agreement with you that Oba Femi is a really, really special wrestler. And I think I had said a couple weeks ago, like, this was the right pay-per-view to do it, or like the right show to do it too, because now it's time for Oba Femi to head into something really special at Stand and Deliver. And this is a nice like check mark to put in on the list along the way. I thought they did a fantastic job. This confused the hell out of me. I don't know if something went up on the Titantron, but at one point there was a "Let's go Cena sucks" chant. I also was like, because there was definitely some piped in crowd noise. I was like, did they pipe in the wrong noise? That was so weird and out of place. But I'll have to ask someone that went what that was. And I will also just say our own Henry the Casey, who hangs out with us a lot of nights, met Oba Femi yesterday and said he was very nice.
I'm very jealous. I'm very, very jealous.
You should be.
Yeah. TJ Ridgeway says, give me Oba versus Fatu now.
That's like, I think we even talked about that as like a future dream match. Like, yes.
This is the thing, is that they are doing now with Fatu and Braun something that they should be holding off on to do with Fatu and Oba, because Braun is old and his knees are gone. And it's not believable in a way that, like, Braun is a giant mid-carder. Fatu is a world champion in waiting. And Oba is also that. So when you have two world champions in waiting, starting a rivalry between them that will last for years is the kind of thing you should do, as opposed to try and make me believe that this version of Braun Strowman is the same guy who he was in 2017 when he's straightably He just isn't. And that's unfortunate because I wish they had struck while the iron was hottest with Braun.
Sure.
But they straight up did not. And by the time they put a world title on him, it was the pandemic and they didn't know what to do with him. And it was a really bad title reign. And then they released him and then they brought him back. And it was just like, he got hurt and it just wasn't.
He was out controlling his narrative. There was so much going on at that time.
There was. Yeah.
I would love to see that spear just like get laid in on a guy like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I think I do know what you mean. Do I know what you mean?
I think you know what I mean, Alex.
I think I do know what you mean.
Because some people need help with their spears.
Right. No, it's true.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Just in case you live under a rock and don't know what I'm saying, I'm talking about Blue Chew helping you out with your own spear if it's looking a little weak. You don't want one of those lying around.
Blue Chew, main event performance, main event confidence, and a main event deal. Go to BlueChew.com and use the code FIGHTFUL, and you will get Blue Chew with their first shipment for free. Shipment? Yeah, I said shipment. No waiting in line at the pharmacy, no awkward doctor's visits. You take their online exam, and then if approved, it's shipped straight to your door. That's right. Same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in a chewable form and much more affordable. How can you pass up on this? How can you pass up on that confidence? How can you pass up on that performance? How can you pass up on making your sex life better? That's what Blue Chew is here to do. You don't have to have a problem to use Blue Chew. Just get that additional performance. BlueChew.com and the code FIGHTFUL.
Julian is saying that he was there. Oba hit the attitude adjustment and the crowd started chanting that. I mean, it wasn't the attitude adjustment, but it was more Keith Lee's Big Bang Catastrophe was the thing that he hit. And
yeah, that's what I kind of thought too.
I mean, that's I thought he was doing an homage by hitting Keith Lee's Big Bang Catastrophe, but yeah. Will Chisholm says, I want Oba in a G1 now.
Well, that is unfortunately not the way that the Forbidden Door swings, but the N1 could.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll be a tournament wrestler in the very near future, though.
Eli says, picture this, or the King of the Ring. Yeah, picture this, 2026 Rumble, Oba debuts with Gunther, Braun, and Jacob Fatu in the ring. Then Gorilla presses Braun to eliminate him. That's a hell of an elimination.
Not mad.
No. You know that horrible, disgusting, terrible idea that Vince had to have Ronda Rousey eliminate the entire field? They should just do that with Oba. It'd be a great idea.
Honest to God, jury is still out for me. Jury is still out for me on if that's a bad or a good idea. We'll never know.
We'll never know. We'll never ever know. Oba wins with a final giant power bomb. He hit several. Moose did his, weird botched cannonball that missed a guy, but grazed him with the shoulder, and that's called a spear. I never liked this flip spear. This flip spear never looks great unless you absolutely nail it.
Blue Chew, would I help that?
I mean, I suppose. If your spear is flipping, see a doctor.
That's why I couldn't properly use that as the segue.
Yeah. Backstage, Ava is being yelled at by Fallon and JC Jane and Jasmine Nix to a lesser extent about when they're going to get their title when Fallon's going to get a rematch. Just keeps on going, yelling. You want to hear my prediction for? Well, I'll save it until the end of the show. Remind me.
I'm never going to remember. Luis, can you write it down on our document?
Write it down. Write it down. Write it down.
This is why we need Luis here every Tuesday.
Ricky comes in and JC Jane says, "Hey, what? We don't belong here. We don't like you." to Ricky Starks, and then leaves and like, why is everybody so angry? Everybody keeps saying I don't belong here. That's not very nice. And he's like, you know what? The first person said it to me was Ridge Holland. I would like very much, says Ricky Starks, in a terrible decision, for my first ever singles match in NXT to be against Ridge Holland next week. And Ava says that's a good idea. And I'm like, no, just please be okay, Ricky. Please be okay, Ricky Saints. Please.
He'll
Please
be all
okay.
right.
All right, I'm just saying. It's just you're tempting fate.
I'm excited for a Ricky Saints one-on-one match.
Yes.
Because it's been here for like a month now, so let's get going.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they did a good job of setting up a few things for next week with this, because they really did not have a lot of backstage segments, which is where everything is done. And also I feel for Ava. All that poor woman is trying to do is her job, and she just keeps getting yelled at by people who are like, I should do your job.
Yeah.
Give her some damn breathing room and put some respect on her name.
Yeah, there we go. So
guys, get in your super chats and humper chats. There's way more of you that we're watching now than at the beginning of the show. So we'll also ask you to please leave a thumbs up as well. That really helps us out a whole heck of a lot. Subscribe here. Subscribe to Fightful Select.
You're supposed to tell them to smash that like button.
Like, share, subscribe, smash that like button. Tell your friends about us.
Tap that bell for notifications so you always know when we go live. There you go. That's what it's supposed to do.
The thing with that is it's like, unless you're on a touchscreen, don't smash the like button. You're going to break your monitor.
Well,
that would be terrible.
Yeah. Most people
I don't want you to have to replace your computer. I just did that. It's not fun.
Most people are on touchscreens. I know, we're old.
But like a lot of people just have like iMacs or whatever. Or like MacBooks rather.
I guess that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like not the one I have now, but the one I had before was a touchscreen laptop. So I could actually smash.
You had like a Surface situation?
Yeah, it wasn't a Surface. It was like a regular laptop, but also had a touchscreen on it.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
I don't mind that.
Yeah.
But even then you shouldn't be smashing.
No, you shouldn't be smashing it. But they say that. They say to smash.
They do. They say smash that like button. I'm like, well, hold on. Yeah. Let's think this through.
I don't understand.
A simple click will do. A simple touch will do.
Yeah.
Smashing.
I know. Hey, so this thing that is very good, but I hate because I want other things. Is the Zol Crushers.
Yeah, they're really good.
Zarya and Sol Ruka are really great together, and I want them to be doing something else.
That's fair.
It's the same thing as like as you bring it up every week. Chad Gable is just so good at this, and he should absolutely be just doing something else. And yeah, no, please, whatever you do, do not, Zarya, do not show anybody that you are funny. You're going to be female Otis. Please do not show anybody that you're funny. It's not, it will, in the long term, it will not work out for you. So that's what I'm worried about. Again, I can't help my brain from like spinning this out into the worst case scenario.
Well, you do have decades of evidence in your
I do.
Your defense.
I do.
But there is also quite a bit of evidence in the realm of women's tag teams always split up. And I do think that'll eventually be an incredible rivalry when they do split. Like I think both their personalities and what they offer in the ring, I think Zarya turns into a monster heel. First of all, if you haven't been to a Rage Room, you should go. It's very fun. Highly recommend. 11 out of 10.
I feel like I have a very good outlet for my rage already, but fine.
By throwing bricks at the moon, though?
By throwing bricks at the moon, Kate.
It's more fun when it's contained because you get to see the damage. It's just floating off without any gravity.
I have a telescope. I can look up there.
You get to watch. You get to follow it.
I get to see what happens.
In my head, Chris Berman's there being like, back.
The brick could go all the way.
I do feel like It seems like they were like, she's not going to hold either of the two singles titles right away. So let's do this other thing. But we've said this week after week, so I don't want to harp. But like, this is the damage of those women's tag belts getting absorbed back into it because these two don't really have anything to fight for. So I'm just like I'm enjoying the in-ring work they do. I think that Zara is like a fantastic hot tag too, because she comes in and she's like doing F5s, and you want to talk about spears that don't need Blue Chew's help. My God, like insane. So it just feels like it's kind of I don't want to say a waste of time because I'm enjoying the in-ring, but a waste of time in that like both of these two women actually should kind of be like in the hunt for titles, and there isn't a tag title around here. So that's tough.
So yes, because Sol Ruca has a U.S. title match with Chelsea Green next week.
Yes.
Chelsea Green tweeted that how dare you schedule this thing for me because I don't want to do it. So Chelsea Green is going to be on NXT next week, and she'll be defending against Sol Ruca. And so you know how I don't want them to be a tag team anymore because I think they should be doing other things.
Yes.
I also don't want them to break up in a dumb way, and I'm worried.
Yeah, understandable.
I'm worried that next week is going to lead to break up in a dumb way because Zelta Zarya is going to try and take out Piper at ringside, and Chelsea is going to shove Sol in the way of Zelta's spear. Something like that. Like it's just going to be this. Oh, now we have dissension. We don't like each other anymore because you cost me my U.S. title shot, or something.
I mean, you hate friendship though, so like pick a side.
I want each of them to be singles champs. I don't want them. If the tag titles are being defended in NXT, or if you're bringing in brand new NXT women's tag team titles, that's fine. But it looks right now like you're trying to give a singles title to one of the two women in the World Tag Team Championships. So perhaps a tag team doesn't have anything to fight for. That's all I'm going to say.
I also just, from the developmental standpoint, like it feels like we'll get Zarya turning on Sol. But when I look at Jakara and Lash, that's when I'm like, where are these titles? Why can't we have them back? Because like they feel like there's a ceiling over their head until they either get called up or those titles come back to NXT. Right. So it's also things like that, just thinking of the trajectory of other women's tag teams in NXT when they don't have things to fight for. So yeah, I just wish they never took them away.
Jambeard says, just think back 10 years ago, Zarya would have been booked as female Zeus, the wrestler, not the god. Yeah, just giant and just that.
I will say they've done a much better job of letting big wrestlers, especially bigger women, have different personalities now. Like Piper Niven would never have gotten to be Security Hervis. Like it's nice that we get to see more dimension. And then like you have Nia Jax doing what she's doing. Like there's a lot more dimension within that. Yeah. But you're right that if you show someone you're funny, they oftentimes don't let you be anything else. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. But they're a fun duo. I just wish there was something competitive for them to be headed toward.
Yeah. This next thing was my favorite thing on the card. Javon Evans and Ethan Page.
More than Oba.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised, but I agree.
I mean, I'm used to Oba being great, and he was great in this, but like this is
next.
This is everything we wanted from Ethan Page when he showed up, and we didn't get for a while. And this is a whole different side of Javon Evans that we feel like we kind of maybe needed.
Some killer instinct in there.
This was a lot better than I thought they were going to let it be. And it had ridiculous feats of athleticism into spots I've never seen before. And I watch a lot of wrestling, and if you're doing spots I haven't seen before, like, or can't remember having seen, like, multiple times in a match, you're coming up with creative stuff.
Yes.
This was so good. I Yeah, they teased more Ethan Page versus Ricky Stark stuff
Yes.
coming out of that. So man, what's up with NXT just booking former AEW guys against each other?
God.
Come on. I mean, anyway, so this was excellent. It told the right story. Javon,
Right guy won.
Right guy won. Depending on where we're going with this, they're now 1-1. So, is there a finish to the trilogy? If so, how do you top this? Like how do you top this? So, my thought is, if this is the way it ends, this is the perfect ending. If like they do another one, Ascend and Deliver, like I don't know how is this
some stipulation, but like,
well, yeah, but like this was a New York City street fight, like, and it ended with a man being slammed jaw first onto a chair in a way I've never seen before. This was friggin' great. But like Javon selling crazy stuff being done to him by Ethan Page and coming back to do leaping cutters over the top rope, grabbing a dude off the apron and driving him through a table is like the third most impressive thing that happened. Like it's nuts. This match was fantastic. And man, I'm looking at these two guys aren't too far apart in age, maybe 5 years.
Really?
No, not Ethan Page, but the guys I'm about to bring up. Javon Evans and Oba Femi. And they are the future of this company. And they are both incredibly talented in incredibly different ways, young black men. And they are, and I don't want to get this, anyone to misunderstand me. They are the future of this company. At their age, they are the future of this company. And if they are not the present of this company in 5 to 10 years, somebody will have gotten in their way for the wrong reasons. I'm saying that now. Mark the date, March 11th, 2025. If by 2035, these guys are not at the top of the company, barring injury, then somebody stood in their way.
Yep.
This company has a history, a past, and some would say a present of denying incredibly talented black men their spot at the top. If they do it with these two guys, that is all you need to know about what they actually believe and what their priorities are, because Oba Femi and Javon Evans are two incredibly differently gifted professional wrestlers, and they're undeniable until you deny them.
Sure.
Once you deny them, well, you decide, you push the finger on the button, you decide who's the champion, you decide who gets the push. So just obviously you decide these guys. And if you don't, that's a problem. That's a serious problem for me. That's
you would have to be actively putting on just the most insane blinders to not see it with both of these guys. And you're right. I think there's a very fair point that I've seen a lot of black content creators making that certainly aligns with what I'm seeing of like, look at Braun, look at Carmelo.
Yeah.
One of them's a multi-time IC champion on the tweener run of his life, and the other is doing dumb shit with the Miz, right? Like, and they were the two guys here in NXT that blossomed and grew into the next guys up. So I hear you loud and clear on that. Like, you would have to be willfully ignoring them. We don't have to go into the extensive history, but I'm also looking at Montez Ford like, okay, seems like the Street Profits are finally going to be back at the titles, but like, I hear you loud and clear on that. This match was fantastic. I felt like the first one was unbelievable, and this one was even better. I love that they gave Javon Evans something to really, something that was extremely personal for him to go after, because he's so much fun.
Yeah.
And you don't want to, he's someone that could be just so much fun for the rest of his career. That's how damn good he is in the ring.
Yeah.
But like the way that the way that I fall in love through wrestling is via in-ring storytelling, and giving him this killer instinct combined with that is such a unique combination of like you said, insane athleticism, doing stuff that we've never seen before, but with this like now it's packing this violent personal punch to it of like, I have to go break this guy's jaw. Like that's what I'm here to do today. I'm gonna look really cool doing it, but like I'm violently gonna go after this guy's jaw. And what can we say about Ethan Page now that he's like in a heel archetype that makes some sense for him? Like, I think it's actually woefully underestimated how much it takes to ground a wrestler like that and to also hold that story so tight as Ethan Page has had to this entire character arc and this story within that character arc. Because it's very easy to lose track. I've seen it so many times. People just lose track of it because they're in the ring with this guy who's this insane phenom. So they've just made magic together, and I look forward to the, I'm assuming eventual third one of these, whatever that is. But I thought the match ending of the last one was so perfect, and I loved how that match was produced and laid out so much. And this one topped that even more because there was all this extra venom from Javon in it. And I thought this was, like I said about the women's match, like both wrestlers knowing exactly who they are and what they're there to do, and also recognizing what their counterpart needs to be able to do to make something like this turn into magic. And this was, as far as like just matches on the card, like this really, 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 really popped out as something special. I was I love when I'm watching wrestling and I forget that the rest of the world is around. Like, this was one of those where you could just engrossed the entire time. So kudos to both of them, because they showed way out. And whoever's been the agent behind these, who's ever producing these, is killing it, because these two specifically have had brilliant match endings, and the ways to get there have been just fantastic. So this was, I would say this is probably my favorite thing on the card too. On a really good card though.
On a really good card.
Really.
Five really, really good matches. I just thought this was really excellent. I loved the way that it came together at the end, countering the twisted grin, which is the old twist of fate, into his version of the RKO, which was exact replica of the Jeff Hardy into Randy Orton thing. I thought was a really cool touch. And then, like I said, putting his face in the chair and then doing the giant springboard Oz cutter, but dropping him onto the chair that is standing, so that when he drops his face onto it, there's no give. That's crazy. I mean, honestly, such a great thing. And then after this, we got Javon in the middle of the ring, and then we got these fellas, two rookies, a bookworm, and a guy who still somehow does not know how sleeves work. When are we going to hold hands across America to teach people how to use sleeves? Because, like, I mean, like, I understand it's fashion, but I also don't understand this particular kind of fashion. You could just cut the sleeve off of, if you want to show off the one arm, you could cut the one sleeve off of your hoodie. You don't have, like,
I just love how fixated you are on the shirt.
It comes up every time they're on screen. The greatest mystery of WWE of the last decade is why this one guy doesn't understand how sleeves work. But yes, they got Temu Shield chants in the building, because they're all wearing the same Shield masks. They come down to the ring. They beat up Javon Evans. I think one guy hits a cannonball on Ethan Page in the corner and gets him out of there. But they do their little toss power bomb. It's a Shield power bomb +1. And they do that to Javon Evans, and then they get to stand there and be all scary looking. And again, what is your plan? What do you want? What is your aim? What are you trying to do? We've seen you attack a whole bunch of different people. What are you trying to do?
I was, well, first of all, they were all spotlit, so screw the production people for not telling them that a violent quartet of gentlemen was in the place, because they knew they were there. Evidently, they had their own lighting. Second of all, I was like, oh no, Javon Evans only has 10 minutes to get out of the ring.
Yeah, I know. Hey guys, I'm gonna stand right here and wait for you to come. Like, just dumb.
He did a good job, and commentary did a good job of being like, he ain't 100%. Like, he doesn't know where he is right now. That match took a ton out of him, so I appreciated that. But I was like, if you take the time to spotlight guys, like he knows they're coming. You've literally spotlit them. Yeah. So I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Saquon Sugars / Lucky Ali, I have seen just the most incredible things from on my timeline. I'm not familiar with his body of work. I won't pretend to be, but what I've seen is insane and very charismatic. So I'm hoping that turns the corner soon. But until then, what? Like, what are we?
What is your aim? What, like, are you like, Ava should be more concerned about this?
She should.
What are they signed wrestlers to your promotion? This is like after they the Wyatt Six showed up and somehow did not shoot Chad Gable in the temple.
After they were shooting Chad Gable,
and then they were signed 2 weeks later. The contracts where they don't have to show up to TV. Like, the best thing we could do to make sure they didn't do anything again was to like put them on the payroll. Who are these people? What are they here for?
Well, what was so annoying with that one was Adam Pearce was like, we came to an understanding. And I was like, oh, cool. I can't wait to find out what the understanding is.
They never did.
They never explained it. Robert DeFelice, who's one of our writers you guys have probably seen on post shows occasionally, called them retro bootleg. And I fell down laughing. Yeah. And by the way, he's the least sour, most happy, most loving guy in the world. So know that he meant that with the most well-intending spirit. But when he said retro bootleg, I almost fell down. But yeah, it's kind of like, this is another thing, because didn't they debut at the last PLE? Vengeance Day?
Was it the last one? Yeah, I guess it was the last one. Yes, it was.
That was like a month ago. Like,
yeah,
you can't. I am, and this might be because we've just seen so much of it. I am tired of your aimless destruction, gentlemen. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ladies never do this. It's always the fellas with their aimless destruction. Who are you? Why are you here?
Yes, all men who do not know who sleeves work.
Fair.
Jambeard says Tango, Echo, Mike, Uniform, Sierra, Hotel, India, Echo, Lima, Delta, Timu Shield.
See, and that's what concerns me. If the crowd is chanting things like that,
the crowd has already given up on them.
Well, here's what I mean is, like, Judgment Day wasn't supposed to be Gothic high schoolers. That was supposed to be a serious thing, but it turned into Gothic high schoolers because the crowd was laughing at them and the creative was bad. Yeah. I don't want these guys, especially in developmental, I don't want these guys to be told there's this vision of what they're going to do, and then they get it turned into something that's a joke, and it's not even their fault. And they have to, like, switch into being weird comedy heels because creative sucked for a month. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not fair to those guys. So I hope that doesn't happen. But shout out to the military lettering on that chat. That's so incredible.
Good. Yeah. Ryan Cicchini says that Javon Evans versus Sugars ruled in DPW. Yeah.
I believe that. Yeah,
I believe the fella who doesn't know how sleeves works does know how wrestling moves work. I've heard,
which is my preference.
Yeah, so, like, great. And can we get?
We need to have a side podcast that's just you evaluating wrestling fashion. Because you could not handle Charlotte Flair's romper last week.
What was the deal with that?
I just love that you...
Was it suede? It looked like a belted shirt.
This is going to sound sarcastic, but I mean it sincerely. I love that you come on here with graphic tees every week and a backwards cap. Because you're actually very invested. Like, you're genuinely trying to figure out the fashion. I've seen you play Arthur Morgan and the amount of effort you put into his look.
That's so true. You got to get the Luke right for Arthur. Like, you got to.
You're not shitting at it. You're genuinely seeking.
I want to know. I've just never seen anybody else do it. I mean, I don't know. Like, but you sent me the thing of the new pants that ladies are wearing that have only one leg. And I'm like, okay, apparently that's a thing.
A pair of pants with like one booty short leg and one full jean. And I was like, I have to send this to Alex.
Yeah.
I was going to try and do a one sleeve thing, but I can't. The neck is too high on this. Shame.
So I feel really remiss that I didn't spend a little bit of time last week talking about this. I'm really happy for Sean Spears.
Yeah, we did a little bit, but not like
but not like because of who he was when he was here the last time.
Yeah.
Like, Ty Dillinger was one of the most over members of the entire roster, NXT or main roster. That dude was stupid over as a Ty Dillinger.
Really good.
And he was very, very good. He wasn't going to set the world on fire with any of his work rate, but like, he absolutely did everything right. He was in the right spot. He had the right footwork. He was there. He knew how to sell. He knew how to, like, everything he was doing was really good. I will never forget. This is an entrance, watching it, that I'll never forget. Back when they were doing takeovers, and they would tape a week of TV before the takeover at the venue.
Yes.
Like, they would do like an undercard that was shown live to the crowd, and then they would tape it and they would show it the week after on TV. And he made the first entrance when they were doing a takeover Brooklyn as a baby face to face, I don't know, Wesley Blake or something. And he came out and like, he came down he did his whole thing. He's like, he spread his arms wide, did the 10 thing, came down the ramp, and they got into the ring, and the entire crowd, this is one of the biggest venues they ever ran at the time. The entire crowd was doing 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. And he just stood in the middle of the ring and just smiling lightly. Like, I don't know if he was trying to hide it, how happy he was, but he was looking around at the entire crowd, 10, 10, 10, 10. And you could tell he was like, this is the most over I'm ever going to be.
Sure.
And I'm kind of okay with that. Like, I wonder if Sean Spears ever thinks back to being in the middle of that ring in that moment where 15,000 people were rabid for undercard, mid-card Ty Dillinger. And I was thinking to myself, that guy never got to taste gold when he was here the first time. And now he does. And they actually ask him in this little promo thing, how does it feel to finally be a champion? It feels very good. But he gets to be evil when he says it. Like, I'm very, very happy for Sean Spears / Ty Dillinger, because I was in the camp that thought they did a takeover Toronto, and he's from Ontario not Niagara Falls, Ontario, not too far away from each other. And I thought it was Bobby Roode, who everybody hated. And I was like, you should just figure out a way to have Ty Dillinger shock everybody and win a battle royal, win a gauntlet or something he wasn't supposed to win, and be a guy who somehow get a title match out of it, and have that moment in Canada. He could lose the title 3 weeks later, but like, have that moment. And they didn't do it, obviously. And he was never really in contention for the North American title. Like, it was just, he never had it. So now he does. And I think that's a really, really, really cool thing. I'm very happy for him. Now, the culling is, at least they're using the culling for this weird culty thing, and not for Retro Bootleg. Retro Bootleg is again, the culling is a very good name for this type of faction. It would be so terrible for the other one. This little vignette about how we're going to take everything from the family and we're going to, this is how we're going to do everything. And Nico Vance gets to talk and new haircut Beej gets to talk and Izzy Dame gets to talk. And it's a fine little vignette. It's fine. I don't think the thing we thought last week is possible right now. Is a thing that they're even considering doing, which was Ricky Starks beats Shawn Spears at Stand and Deliver. I don't think that's a thing they're considering doing anymore. I just don't think so. This feels like maybe Tony D gets a rematch, and then we send him on his way. Like we're not doing anything anymore after this. And this feels like a 5 to 7 month title reign of the damned numbers game, keeping everybody off of him. And maybe at 5 to 7 months from now is when we get Javon Evans beating him for it. But it's way too early in a title run of a guy who's got a whole squad of people who are going to interfere on his behalf for losing the title. He's got to win. He's got to retain the title via shenanigans at least 4 or 5 times before they even think about having one guy by himself do everything. Or Javon Evans has got to get a squad of people who are going to help him. I just don't think that's possible.
Very happy for Shawn Spears. And when he came to NXT, I certainly didn't think he was going to hold the title because I think reports were he's going to be producing and wrestling. And I was like, oh, he'll help younger guys look good and put together matches. I bet he'll be great at that based on how he was cerebral as a wrestler. He was a very smart wrestler, is a very smart wrestler. So I didn't think that was going to happen for him. And that's a bummer. He seemed like a guy that they missed out on his prime. And now there's this for him. But it is, I always really liked him because it was really fun to there's just certain things in the way that he approaches matches that seem very specific to him, and I always appreciate that about wrestlers. There's certain ways that he moves and there's certain things that he does that felt very specific to Ty Dillinger. This was not that. This guy's a creepy cult leader. And dude. I think it's so funny that my favorite thing about him is now not the thing that got him to gold, but it's also a very effective way to help a bunch of other people get over, right? Izzy Dame was I'm a heater. Neat. We don't really know what Nico has in store, and we know that our beloved Beej has bounced around from variation to variation without any sustained emphasis or momentum behind it. So him being a dastardly cult leader, I think, is something that could be really productive for them on top of him having this title reign. So I'm excited for that. I think that's a good move, but I was of the camp too. Obviously Ricky Starks is winning, but now I'm just wondering, maybe Ricky's just made roster bound, pretty quick after Mania or into SummerSlam.
We'll see. Jambeard has an idea that I feel like it's very possible. HBK and Triple H are going to book it as Ricky versus Ego versus Spears for the title, just to show off the XAW guys. I mean, they might be doing it for that reason, but that is a very distinct possibility. If Javon is just moving on, maybe Javon versus Saquon Sugars is a program. That's the guy they're actually after. I don't know, maybe. But absolutely Ricky versus Ego versus Spears, with Spears retaining via chicanery, and also Ricky and Ego hate each other because they think the other guy cost them that title. Ricky versus Ego is a really great program. I don't care that they're both from AEW. Other people are going to pretend to be mad about online.
Sure.
I think that Ricky Staints is no.
That sounds derogatory for some reason.
That does sound really bad. Ricky Sarks is no. Ricky.
It's just Ricky Saints. We'll just get there.
We'll get there eventually. Ricky Saints versus Ego versus all Ego Ethan Page is going to be. It would be great. Would be really, really great. It'd be a great program. Something you could keep both of them busy for a while.
Yeah.
I am still of the opinion that you should put a belt around the waist of Ricky Saints as soon as possible. But it feels like with this particular thing of like you giving him a whole phalanx of people who can interfere in his matches to help him retain the title, just feels like that's what he's going to do for a little bit anyway.
Good for them for not making that the Heritage Cup story for another time.
Yeah,
I miss Noam Dar so much.
Me too.
I liked what they did today with Ego being like, they don't like outsiders here.
He's the ultimate outsider. Man, everybody in NXT in the years that it was good, everybody was an outsider. They came from the Indies, they came from ROH, they came from TNA, they came from every place. NXT is just outsiders. There's no insiders.
The NIL classes are.
But they also came from somewhere else. You know what I mean? No one was literally birthed within the PC.
Everybody comes from somewhere else in wrestling. That's why it's so fucking stupid that Mark's on the internet. And I don't normally say Mark's on the internet because I think it's a stupid term. Because I think Mark mostly means that you're a fan that's bought into something. And that's what people should strive to do while watching wrestling. But that's why you all look so fucking stupid.
Sure. Oh, it's did you know that they worked at another place before they worked? I've only worked at one company my whole fucking life. Oh, just kidding. I'm unemployed. I can't get a job. That's what you sound like.
Losers.
You sound like that little girl that Lily Tomlin played in the 70s. Like, do you remember the Lily Tomlin sketch where she was playing a little girl? And that's the truth. That's the thing. That's who that is. Yep. That's how old I am. I remember that particular character.
Here, I'll just say this, okay? Because I'm so naive. Do you even know where the term Mark comes from? Do you even know what happened in Carnival days where wrestling originated?
That's right. It comes from Mark Calloway, who turned into the Undertaker,
who
gave a fist bump to Oba Femi. Okay. He told him to defend his yard, and he did. All right?
That's where the term Mark comes from.
That is how you do a cage match.
The Undertaker, again, came up through the Carnival days.
Luis, I'm going to keel over and die now. I'm going to keel over and die now.
Fired.
Yeah, it's me.
Don't come back here next week unless we need you.
Anyway, so we got our Jambeard saying that he's pushing my booking of the Zol Crushers for the Knockouts tag title match. Sure.
Okay, but I don't watch that show, so I want to see it happen here for selfish reasons.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not saying that's a bad creative idea. I just want I want to see it on my TV on Tuesday.
We got our title for title winner take all match in the main event, and it just felt really short. Like it was 12 minutes. 12 and a half. I don't think it was fully 13 minutes. This just felt like they wrestled for 2 minutes, and then then 10 minutes until the end of the show, they went to commercial. Like it just felt like they didn't for as much as they say it's the most important, the biggest match in the history of NXT is what they say. Women's match in NXT. They gave it 13 minutes. They gave it a maximum of 13 minutes because that's when the bells, and there was a hard out. You can't there's no overrun on the CW. You had to get out. So like it was really good. Both these women are really excellent. I think the woman who won was the woman we all thought was going to win for various reasons. And I can't wait for them to have another one whenever Giulia is ready to do that at a pay-per-view where you can give them 22 minutes because they felt like they had another 9 to 10 minutes left in them. That's my one thing with this is that I felt like we didn't get enough for it being told to me by the people who have microphones and are telling me things on this broadcast like how important and how big this match is. The fact that you granted it a maximum of 13 minutes just feels maybe that's as much as they could do. Like, I don't, the thing with like Giulia being banged up and she has to go away and get some things taken care of. Maybe she couldn't go for that long, or I don't know. It just didn't feel like the magnitude of what you told me it was didn't match up with here's a 12-minute match, which was great, but like I wanted more of it. That's,
Sure. Well, you wanted more of it, Alex. You know why?
Yeah.
Because these ladies are money.
They are money.
And you were probably thinking, if this was a PLE, I could win some money.
Oh.
If I were to place bets.
Bets
on the internet specifically.
Yeah.
But where you can't place some money on wrestling, that would be ridiculous. Psych! Yes, you can.
I want to talk to you guys about our great partner at BetOnline AG. Yes, the place that lets you bet on pro wrestling. We've gotten our pro wrestling betting odds from them for years, well before we even worked with them. And we're going to tell you a little bit more about them. They got the earliest lines, the fastest payout, the industry best bonuses. They've been trusted for 25 plus years because of their safe and secure environment and their quick payouts. But you can bet on pro wrestling. How cool is that? If you think you know more than anybody, go ahead and look at those odds. It's the same ones you've seen on Fightful for years. You might see one that sticks out to you and you go, wait a second, there's no way that person's going to win. Why are they an underdog? Make yourself some money. BetOnline AG. And hey, it doesn't stop there. Whatever sports you want, they got you covered. Popular games like blackjack and roulette, Supernova, Skyward, all that stuff. BetOnline AG. Please bet responsibly and only bet what you can at BetOnline AG.
I love this from you. It's late in the show. I did my best. I'm tired.
There weren't as many opportunities tonight. There weren't a lot of segments.
The segment. Usually you get them from segments that like are just talking and doing wacky stuff backstage.
Yeah, like backstages or whatever.
We didn't get a lot of those. So Ryan Chiquini says we need heel Giulia. She showed a bit of it. Stephanie Vaquer did multiple of her backbreakers. They SVB. And congratulations, Kramen Petrovic. You're not the only person who pisses me off with your selling of backbreakers. I'm sorry. Like it's
super common.
It's super common, and everybody does it. And in this particular one, because like, all right, I'm going to try and break your back. Well, that didn't knock you out. How about I knock you out with a backbreaker with the second one? And then it did. And I was like, that it should be crippling. It should be in a way that you can't kick out of, as opposed to I am now unconscious. That's just I see it happen, and certain moves target other things.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And so, like, if somebody puts you in an ankle lock and you get out of it, you do not sell your neck for the rest of the match because your ankle was the thing that was hurt. Your back was hurt.
Ring
your head wasn't hurt.
over here.
I know. It's my. I'm going back to school. I'm going to go to the community college, try and get a 2-year degree in ring psychology. I can't possibly hope to compete with the doctorate other people have, but anyway, she wins, and we see Giulia upset about it on the outside, kind of a thing. I guess she's 0-2 now against Vaquer. Vaquer, the double champ. Luis telling us she's the first woman to win titles in New Japan, CMLL, and WWE, and the first person to be double champ in both CMLL, where she was world and world tag champion, and also WWE. That's pretty cool. Ryan Chiquini says, I know there are a million rumors, but I do think Giulia dropped the belt to Stephanie so she can have a match with Mako with no belt lingering. I have not heard that. I guess we would see if that were the way to do that, but
I don't think they would need to have her drop the belt to do that, because it's Mako's retirement run. You could just
sure
legend versus present day megastar. I think it probably is based on the booking and the length of this match. Giulia is probably more beat up than maybe she didn't. She certainly didn't look weak in the ring tonight, but there was a report from not us, I think Wrestling Observer, that she was banged up, but not like hurt. So she was able to work this match, but maybe they just didn't want to push it for more than 12 minutes or whatever it ended up being. Yeah, sure. Especially with how hard she hits, my God. So, so I agree with you. The match felt like it had more in it. I'm confident that we'll see a rematch at least once, probably several times over. And I look forward to that when they're both healthy and rocking and rolling, and it's on a PLE, so we don't have to worry about time limits and everything. But I love the way the difference in their styles mesh. Like, this is just these are two fully baked pro wrestlers, meaning like, yes, technically a developmental brand. These two are expert level wrestlers, fully in control of how they work. And they just they're great, and it's special. And tonight was an appetizer, and I look forward to the full course meal that we eventually get. And happy for Steph, because she's incredible and she's going to do great stuff. So
so here's my prediction that I was talking about from before.
I did not write it down, so
I know Luis did.
Remembered. Legend. I take it all back. You don't have to know who Lily Tomlin is. You just have to help us with things like that, Luis. I apologize.
So I like I said, I don't think that Stephanie keeps the North American title for very long. I don't think they make her relinquish it. Please don't do that. Don't pull a Keith Lee with it, for God's sake. But I think that we have two people. We have one who's being talked up by Mickie James about how she needs to go get gold. And we have another one who is constantly berating Ava about getting a title shot, a title rematch. And I think it's very possible that that there is a segment in which Jada and Fallon are in Ava's office. I could just see this happening exactly like this. Jada and Fallon are yelling at each other over Ava's desk about who deserves a title shot for the North American title. And Stephanie comes in and says, "Give me them both. I will fight them both." And then she leaves. And then in that match, Jada pins Fallon, and Jada is your new North American Women's Champion. I think that could happen as early as Tuesday. Because I think...
Do you think Kalani gets in there too?
Perhaps. I mean, she lost pretty clean to Jada. I think that, like, maybe she gets in it as well, but Jada, I feel like, has come out of that as the person who won that little thing. Fallon wants a rematch. I feel like that is something they could... I'm not saying I want it. I'm saying that's something that is my prediction for how they're going to... Without Stephanie being pinned, because I think they would want her to be protected in some way.
Sure.
And then immediately her being dragged into probably something with Jordynne Grace for the world, the top world title for the women.
That makes sense.
Deliver.
I'll take that.
I think that she probably beats Jordynne Grace, and she doesn't lose the world women's title until Giulia comes back, gets another one-on-one with Stephanie, and beats her. And Giulia takes the title back from Stephanie at that point.
I think you do have to have her lose that one pretty quickly, because the whole point of having two titles was to avoid exactly what would happen if you strap her up with two belts for too long. And I also just feel like there's no need to with how great this women's division is. I hope they don't give it to Roxanne. I'm just like, when is this girl going up?
Yeah, but okay, New York puns.
Let's hear it from you, right?
Says Central Mark Briscoe. Not Central Park, but Central Mark. Central Park Briscoe. I mean, either way. Times Squared Circle. Nice. Lieutenant Photo says, live from New York. It's Saturday nights, all right for fighting.
Very nice.
Tour of the Staten Island. And also asking, Kate, how is the floof, Daphne?
Oh, she's much better now. Thank you. She was just she just ate something. She just got in the garbage or ate something off the street. I don't know.
Ryan Sully says, all right, I'll bite. Timeless Square, Tony Storm. Queens Aminata, the bad Big Apple, Brian Keith, Madison Avenue Rain, Tiffany Staten Island. I might have more later. Keep up the great work, Alex, Kate, everyone at Fightful. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you so much.
Insert clever Nixon Newell pun says Nixon New Ellis Island.
Very nicely done. Love the commitment to the bit.
Everett Smith says Showtime at the Apollo Cruise. Tom LaValle says Bronx Breaker. Repo Manhattan. Queens Aminata. Brooklyn Newell. Brooklyn. Anyway, the Staten Island of relevancy. And Alan Jeanette says Tavern on the Chelsea Green.
Very good.
Rafael.
It's like more specific too. Well done. Not just like a super common landmark. Well done.
Rafael Garcia sends in a humper chat saying Queen's Aminata. Calls it
Very
a
nice.
pun sacrifice or the puncrifice, if you will. Jambeard says New York puns, right? Perfect time to bring back calling Kate's team the New York Wankies.
That's not a wrestling pun, but you paid us, so I'll take it, and I'll take half of that money and put it toward finding a new pitcher. Because
Alpha Bill says, "Hey, I'm wallering here.
I saw that one come across, and I was like, I don't get it. But then you did it out loud, and now I get it.
Yeah, it's from Midnight Cowboy. It's Dustin Hoffman, who almost got hit by a car for real walking through a crosswalk in New York because they did not rope off the streets. And Dustin Hoffman slams on the hood of a taxi cab, and it's like, "Hey, I'm walking here. Dustin Hoffman almost got his legs broke by New York.
I didn't know that was a shoot, brother.
That was a shoot, brother. That was a shoot. Alan Jeanette says the new Thanksgiving Day parade, the new day Thanksgiving parade,
the new Thanksgiving Day parade. Well done.
Orion Benson's in Humper Chat saying Oba Fifth Avenue. Giulia Rockefeller, NXT plot holes or potholes, but basically also roadblocks. Queens Aminata, we got a lot of those. Teddy Long Island. There you go. You got to say the G in there.
Long Islands. Yeah.
I'm the Manhattan Betty Lynch. Becky Lynch. I said Betty Lynch.
Lynch.
It's been so long I forgot her name. Phil Brooklyn, Staten Island of relevancy, and Madison Squared Circle Garden. Thank you guys for the New York puns. Really appreciate it.
We got some ones that I thought were pretty specific for repeats. Yeah. Very well done. Did you do this one? Statue of Liberty Roads?
No, it wasn't on the document. So,
Luis, he's too busy Googling Lily Tomlin.
Yep, he is.
Grand Slam Central Station. Did we do that one?
Yes, we did. Very early. That was the early one.
Got
it. Okay. Orion Ben says the Coyote Ugly Jukebox. Regal does Sunday Bloody Sunday. By U2.
Very nice.
I can't believe the news today, or I can't close my eyes and make it go away. How long? How long must we sing this song? How long? How long? Because tonight we can be as one. Tonight. Broken bones under children's feet, bodies strewn across the dead-end street, but I won't heed the battle call. It puts my back up against the wall. Sunday, bloody Sunday. Sunday, bloody Sunday. Sunshine, bloody sunshine. Sunday, bloody Sunday. Sunshine. Fraxiom to sing Before I Forget by Slipknot. They forgot to win tonight, that's for sure. Oh, hold on.
We did get this pun. Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. Yeah, very good. Verse 1 says, here we go. Okay. Staples shut inside and outside world, and I'm sealed in tight, bizarre but right at home. I'm claustrophobic, closing in, and I'm catastrophic. Not again. I'm smeared across the page and doused in gasoline. Oh, where you like a stain, yet I'm the one who's a scene. You catch me up on all your subtle little insurrections. Got no time to lose. I'm just caught up in all the cattle. I was a creature before I could stand. Oh, no, before I forget that, I'm a word before I am the man. I was a creature before I could stand. Oh, remember before I forget that. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so we need you to do one of your girls. We need one of those.
I
Steiner
can do
math.
the Steiner Math Pro.
Yeah, do that.
Okay.
While I link up everything else that's going on here.
Well, that's because, they say that all men are created equal, but you look at me and you look at Samoa Joe and you can see that statement is not true. See, normally if you go one-on-one with another wrestler, you've got a 50-50 chance of winning. But I am literally a genetic freak. I'm not normal. So you got a 25% at best at beating me. Then you add Kurt Angle to the mix, your chances of winning drastically go down. See, the three-way at Sacrifice means you got a 33 1/3 chance of winning, but I got a 66 2/3 chance of winning because Kurt Angle knows he can't beat me, so he's not even gonna try. So Samoa Joe, you take your 33rd1/3 chance minus my 25% chance, and you've got an 8 1/3 chance of winning at Sacrifice. But then you take my 75% chance of winning if we was going to go one-on-one, and you add 66 2/3%. I got a 141 2/3 chance of winning at Sacrifice. See, Joe, the numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for you at Sacrifice. Yeah.
Jambeard
you
wants...
can't have to that one. You got to go full in.
Jambeard wants Darby to sing Butterfly by Crazy Town. Come, my lady, come, my lady. You're my butterfly, sugar baby. Come, my lady, come, my lady. You're my butterfly, sugar baby. Such a sexy, pretty little thing. Fierce nipple pierce, Malachi Black. You got me sprung with your tongue ring. And I ain't gonna lie, because your lovin' gets me high. So, to keep you by my side, there's nothing that I won't try. Butterflies in her eyes and looks to kill. Time has passed and I'm asking, could this be real, Brody King? Because I can't sleep. I can't hold still. The only thing that I really know is she got sex appeal. I can feel. Too much is never enough. You're always there to lift me up when these times get rough, buddy. Matthews. I was lost. Now I'm ever found. Ever since you've been putting around. You're the woman that I want, so I'm putting it down. Come, my lady. Come, my lady. You're my buggerfly. Shooter. Baby. Julia Hart. So, okay. So, speaking of butterflies, a different butterfly song. Jambeard wants Linda to sing Butterfly by Smile and dedicate it to Minoru Suzuki. So here we go. I. Where's my samurai? I've been searching for a man all across Japan just to find my samurai. Someone who is strong, but I need a little short, but still a little shy. Yes, I need my samurai. I'm your little butterfly. Green, black, and blue make the colors in the sky. I'm your little butterfly. Green, black, and blue. Black and blue is how my buns were looking after that kid. That man plays rough.
Linda.
Rough. Make the colors in the sky. That's right. He was my samurai. My goodness, the amount of... Sorry, I was gonna make a katana joke, but it's not. It's not appropriate.
Oh, so you never are. You never are.
Jambeard also wants me and Nia Girl to discuss the Tony versus Mariah match. First of all, it should have been the main event. Okay?
Have you heard about this match? Did you see it?
Yes, I have. Also, you are being somebody other than the Nia Girl right now.
Oh my God. I don't even know what happened.
I don't know what you were doing, but
it was almost like I
saw the
just
match.
went into a different mode.
They were so bloody.
They were literally so bloody. They were so unhinged.
Like
you could tell they had just eaten way too much sugar with way too many chemicals earlier in the day.
It's true. The last time I saw that much blood was when I shaved my legs for the last time. I needed to get a new razor, but honestly, it was terrible. There was
there was glass literally everywhere.
They call it gory self-mutilation for a reason.
They do.
I'm just saying, maybe a little less of the
it was wild.
It was wild.
She had to watch out for the shoe.
Also, should have been the main event.
It literally is so ridiculous it didn't main event.
If not now, Tony Khan. Anthony Khan. If not now, when? When are you main eventing the ladies? This is an 18-month story that built perfectly to the final match in the trilogy. And it's like the middle of the show.
So
it's the middle
John
of
Moxley and
the middle of the show.
Bore us to death. I was already falling asleep as it was.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Rafael Garcia says, I'm very shy and want to be respectful. So can we hear the ghost of Dusty Rhodes singing Blow the Whistle by Too Short? Thank you. I offer Queen's Amanada as the pet. Yes. Queen's Amanada. Thank you very much. Here we go. Dusty, are you there? I'm here, baby. I go on and on. I can't understand how I last so long. I must have superpowers. Rap 225,000 hours. Get a calculator, do the math. I made 1,000 songs that made you move your ass. And for the last 300 months, I made 16 albums with me on the front, and they bump. Where you get your beats? I had 93 rappers say they stuff like me. Two singers and 10 comedians, and I'm still gonna yell every time you see me. And what's my favorite word? That's right. Why they gotta show it like that? You know they can't play on my court, can't hang with the big dogs. Stay on the porch. Blow the whistle. Tweet, 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 tweet. Blow the whistle. Tweet, 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 tweet. Blow the whistle. Tweet, 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 tweet. Blow the whistle. If you will.
Who wouldn't? That was beautiful. You must be a hoot at karaoke.
I'm the best, baby. I have a very large repertoire.
I believe it. I feel like I could see you being like a Jimmy Buffett or like a crooner karaoke guy more often.
Yeah, that's right.
But you killed that. You slayed.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, I gotta go back to Caribbean. Bye.
Okay. Well, thanks for stopping by.
Hello.
Ricky.
It's Ricky Rainbow. There's one last one for me. Tom LaValle says Ricky Rainbow to sing Amber by 311 because today. I see. In America, you do the month first and the day second, but here would be 11/3.
Do you know what's in 5 days? Technically 4 now, but 5 days in most time zones.
What's that?
3/16. Stone Cold Steve Austin Day.
Oh, you mean 16/3? That is a we celebrated on 16/3 over here. We can't celebrate. There's not 16 months on the calendar, so we can't do 16/3 here. 3/16 here. It's not possible. But I'm just gonna sing this song. Brainstorm, take me away from the norm. I got to tell you something. This phenomenon, I had to put it in a song, and it goes like, "Whoa, amber is the color of your energy. Whoa, shades of gold displayed naturally. You want to know what brings me here? Oh, you glide through my head, blind to fear, and I know why. Whoa, amber is the color of your energy. Whoa, shades of gold displayed naturally. Instrumental break. Whoa, amber is the color of your energy. Whoa, shades of gold displayed naturally. Thank you.
That was an all-timer.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. I appreciate it more than you know.
Well, that's it. That's all of our show.
That's it.
We're going to end it now.
We are. You want to say the thing?
Keep cool, gabagoos.
Yeah. Bye.